Okay, so this is take one at Lux Orbis Poi tutorials. My name's Liz, this is Mike.
Hi.
And we are going to try a little bit different teaching method because I am very new to the tech poi world. Mike is very advanced in the tech poi world, especially compared to my skill set. So I've learned a lot from Mike, but I feel like by recording these tutorials and hearing you ask me questions, it might be a little bit different perspective on how to learn these things. I've been spinning for 5 years, but this is really my first couple months diving into tech poi. So hopefully you can learn with me. I'll probably make a lot of mistakes along the way, but that's part of the learning process. So our first tutorial today, we're going to cover flowers and the different variations. So we're going to start with the very basic flower discussion and then just kind of break it down from there. Butterflies.
Cool. So butterfly flowers. When we talk about butterfly or we talk about weave, we're talking about the concepts of same time, same direction for weaves, for flowers, or split time, same direction. But flowers, what we mean for butterfly is using the module of they're going split opposites, same time. And you can do those in flowers, and these flowers are rocking. They are awesome looking, especially when they're crisping together. So it's the same thing as a normal flower, except for the hand positions are different, which is something to get really comfortable with and play with. So if you wrap up your poi at first and keep them in your hands and learn to walk through those positions, because normal flowers has these 4 points you're moving through. Butterflies, different. It's the hands going a very different variation. So the hands for butterfly are going to start with both hands at your side, which would be technically in your cheerleader. They're going to come up with one front to the back into cheerleader. They're going to go back up to the top, and they're going to go right back out to Jesus. So they're going to move through the same 4 points, but at different times, where the hands are together at your sides, they're apart, they're together, they're apart, they're together, they're apart. You'll hear me say that 1,000 times, because together, apart is a good little mantra you can teach yourself for flowers, wall playing work, and poi work to get comfortable with. And it's the same thing in either direction. Moving through those 4 points and just playing with that all together, just moving fluidly to warm your shoulders up. And if you notice, as I'm coming here, I'm dropping down, I'm bouncing to my knees. That's really important with flowers. You'll find a point where they come up and you'll bounce up and then bounce down. And it will really accentuate the petals and give them their natural spin on their own, where their trajectory is already going, hence spin, not spinning with your hands. It will make it much easier. So let's dive into those. So it doesn't really matter which way you start, but for sake of keeping together on things, we're going to go, right hand is going to be spinning reverse, left hand is going to be spinning forward.
I'm going to mirror you.
That's fine. And I'm going to wrap up my poi just so we don't bust each other. So since my right hand's spinning forward, my left hand's spinning back, if you look at the natural spin of those where they're at, you can go forward with your left hand, but it's going to go anti-spin. You can go back with your right hand, but it's going to go anti-spin. So you want to go up with each hand. So they're both going to go up to here, both up to the top together, and then go back out to the front and back, and then go back down to the bottom. Up, together, back. Apart, together, apart, together. Apart, together, apart, together. And once you begin to really play with that, you'll find these nice points where you won't have to do much. You just bring your arms up, bring them above you, and bring them back down. So once you get comfortable with playing with those, both going, one going forward, one reverse, and the split opposite, stuff like that, change the direction of your poi and switch them up. So if we started before with my right hand going reverse towards my shoulder, and my left hand going forward, change them to where my right hand's going forward and my left hand's going reverse. And that'll be the opposite of what we did. So this time the left hand's going to go up in front rather than the right hand. So let's work through that same pattern again. Up, together, apart, together, apart. Cheerleader, Jesus, cheerleader, Jesus, cheerleader, Jesus, cheerleader, Jesus.
That doesn't feel as good the same direction.
You'll find one direction that you're totally comfortable with that seems easy because the body mechanics and the muscles are all normal, The other direction will feel really weird. Point of advice is to grind the goofy stuff. If you can take time to spend more time spinning in the opposite direction, it's like if you have naturally a left-handed person and your left hand is awesome and your right hand is pretty awesome too, but it's learning to be cool with your left hand, drill the weak side of your body. I want to call it weak. Drill that side so they both become harmoniously working together because it comes in sync and you'll be able to do much more together at once. Yes.
So once you get pretty solid with all these different flowers, how do you start to put them together into different combinations?
Combinations as in goofy, or you mean combinations as in just different transitions of flowers and how to go between butterfly and forward spin, like opposites and stuff like that?
I want to get goofy.
Okay, so goofy flowers are usually what's considered goofy, or they're considered hybrids. It really depends. There's a lot of variations. A lot of variations are like one hand doing an anti-spin while the other hand does an extension, or one hand doing like a forward spin while the other hand does an anti-spin. The easiest way to get into that, which is the easiest goofy flower we know besides the second one we'll go into in a second, which is my favorite, is a atypical goofy flower where one hand's going to be doing a forward spin, like we did in the first flower explanation, and the other hand doing an anti-spin at the same time. To get into that, you're going to have to start in butterfly. You're going to have to start in split opposites. So one hand's going to be going reverse, one hand's going to be going forward. So as you can see right now, my right hand is going reverse towards me. My left hand is going forwards away from me. Bring those into the normal flower position we were doing with the forward spin flowers. Start with your right hand up, start with your left hand down, and go through those 4 petal variation points we were talking about, and begin to work through them. And as you go through those points, stopping at each one, it'll be a little weird at first to get them to really sync up, but that's where you get my right hand doing an anti-spin, my left hand doing a normal in-spin, and that's your goofy flower. To transition between that, all you have to do is change directions. So if my right hand's going back in this variation, my right hand doing the normal spin. To change that, at the top, bring your right hand, go forward. So my right hand's now going forward, it is now doing an anti-spin. My left hand is now doing the normal spin. And learning to play with those back and forth between each side is really good. Again, with these, something that's really neat about them is since your one hand's doing like a normal spin and going the in spin, in spin, in spin around, the other hand's doing the anti-spin, the more comfortable you can get with opening your hips as you do it, you'll find these really interesting points where this hand's on my right hand is like scooping up, going back. And you really can lay into it in the point where you can begin to move with it in a very interesting way that's unnormal. Now the only thing that's really weird about these goofy flowers is what we were talking about is this hand's doing 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4. And try and get those points really crisp and stop at each point as much as you can. Let it spin on its own. We taught you before that the anti-spin is going to 4 points, but it's going at an angle rather than it is going to those 4 points. So that'll be the point that's really weird to work with, but continue enjoying and play with it. That'll give you one option of a goofy flower. So,
feels pretty goofy.
So something next and fun for you, I'll teach you my favorite variation, which is a butterfly variation. Again, it's one hand doing one thing, the other hand doing another thing. This is where you really begin to bridge into really interesting hybrids. Some people would totally probably call it caps. I'm not sure if they really are caps. It doesn't really matter, but it's a variation. What it's going to be is one hand is going to be doing an anti-spin. The other hand is going to be doing an extension or a long arm. The way to break into this and get comfortable drilling it is to just do it. And it's going to feel weird, and it is in butterfly. So my left hand's doing an extension long, just around like this, no stops. My right hand is doing the anti-spin. It's still going in those same 4 points like we did in the normal flower. Your right hand's doing the 4 points, or your left hand, whichever is doing the anti-spin, is doing the 4 points. It's going to do the anti-spin, and the other hand's going to do one big circle. A good way to practice that and get comfortable with it is exactly what I'm doing now. is to get one hand going anti-spin, let the other hand just kind of drift like a pendulum, where it comes up and straight across. Up and straight across. This will give you huge control. This will give you a neat pendulum variation in flowers as well. And this will give you another goofy flower, which bridges into a ton of stuff. And the same thing, switch your hands, you know? So now my right hand is going to do the extension, my left hand is going to do the anti-spin. But I'm going to do it for pendulum for right now. Same thing, just to get the hands working together. You should actually probably start practicing this flower first before you start practicing 4-petal spin and anti-spin and butterflies, because what's going to happen is you're going to learn all these fun patterns, and then your body's going to naturally want to stop, stop, stop when you're learning those 4-petal points. And with this, it'll take a little bit of fun playing where you can get one hand to basically do that extension the whole time while the other hand's doing an anti-spin. You may find that going a little faster will be easier than going slow. Because if you go slow with it, it's a way to build up. That's where you can start to get the pendulum idea of it.
Yeah, I need to work on my other side apparently.
Do we go more or do we cut it quits here?
I think we've covered a lot
Cool.
for day 1.
So
let's work with there.
Ideas to think about in the future for flowers is to take all the timings, all the positions, and play with them together. Play with different variations of it. So if you're going same time, same direction, you're doing the 4 petals anti-spin, play with the same time, same direction, doing those in the butterfly. So you get a completely different idea of doing the same time, same direction flower, but your arms are doing it in different positions. Play with those forwards and reverse, play with pendulum ideas, drill, 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 have a good time, thank you.
Thanks everybody.